Sweet. Okay. Lucky, welcome to the Breen Show.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for being here. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's a bit of a complicated introduction.
Yeah.
I'm a DID system, meaning I have multiple people in one body.
Okay.
And so our collective name is Lucky. That's what you know me as, so like as a singlet Sona, single person. And my individual name as a member of the system is Ictus.
Okay.
And I use he, him pronouns.
Okay, sweet. So what can you tell me about yourself as Ictus?
Well, I can back it up a little. I have to tell you a little bit about systemhood.
Okay, yeah, let's start from the beginning.
Let's unpack the whole thing.
Yeah, let's jump right into it.
So, DID system.
Yes.
There's multiple types of systems, but DID is the kind that I am, meaning that members do not remember each other's experiences.
Okay.
So there's amnesia barriers.
Okay.
And so there's multiple types of system members. The two main types are introjects, meaning coming from an outside media, and brain-made, meaning created by the brain. I'm a mix of both.
Okay.
If you go way back in my timeline, when I first joined the system, which was only a year and a half ago, but still, I was originally Iggy from Super Mario.
Oh, wow.
The crazy lime green Koopaling with the big pineapple hair.
Yeah.
That was me.
Okay.
But then I changed a lot. And now I'm sort of a evil demonic entity type of thing.
I see.
But I have a lot of important roles in the system. I keep things organized. I control switching at times. Switching means changing who's at front. And at front is who you see in control of the body.
Okay.
So I have a lot of roles in that sense in the system, but I am an introject who then became more brain-made in the system, and then I have roles in that sense. And you are free to ask questions on any of this because I know I'm throwing a lot of terms at you.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of questions I have. So let's just start with Ictus. So did this character become part of the system, as a result of like playing one of the Mario games or from like a certain piece of media?
Well, as a very young kid, we were very obsessed with Mario, the whole franchise.
Yeah.
We mostly just played Super Mario Wii. We also played Mario Kart, and then we watched the Super Mario Super Show, which did not have Iggy in it. But then later on, we watched the Super Mario Bros. 3 show, which has the Koopalings, which is Iggy and all of the siblings. All of Bowser's kids, but they're not Bowser's kids, and I'm not going to get into that. Yeah. All of them in it. And then it sort of reminded our brain of the Super Mario franchise, and then I showed up as a system member. So a lot of times when you interject somebody, our system it comes from trauma. So a lot of our system members also come from trauma, but it doesn't necessarily mean a horrible traumatic event happens every time we get a new member.
Yeah.
It can be something simple as I'm under a lot of stress, and so someone new shows up. And so we were in a time of high academic stress. Our system was.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the solution, for some reason, was Iggy from Super Mario. The brain doesn't always make the best decisions, in my opinion, but I'm happy to be here. But I showed up as a system member, as Iggy from Super Mario, and then sort of diverged from there.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's so many questions. So let's go back for a minute. Let's go all the way back. To like the start of the story. Right?
Okay.
So when did you first realize that you have some of these systems at play? Like when was the first time that you realized that maybe you have more than one personality that you're contending with? Or embodying, rather.
Well, we don't use the term personality because it's very one-dimensional, and everyone in our system is very three-dimensional.
So what's the proper term?
We use, well, there's many proper terms, but our term that we use as a system is headmate. It's like a roommate, but in your head.
Oh, I see.
Because you wouldn't say your roommates are just a personality. I mean, maybe you would, but...
yeah. But they're three-dimensional. Yeah. Okay.
So, actually, funny story is that it wasn't us that realized we were a system. It was our sibling. So our sibling sent us this link to a website called morethanone.info and said, you need to read this. And I went, Okay, I'll read it later. And then a couple days later, my sibling went up to me and was like, did you read the website? And I was like, no. And they were like, you need to read it. And I was like, hey, I'll read it. And I read it, and it's information on what a system is, explaining it's more than one person in your body that takes turns taking control or joins you up front. And there's many ways systems can present. And then I was like, oh my God, that's me. And my sibling was like, yeah, I told you. That's you.
So they kind of noticed you taking on different characteristics at certain times.
Yeah.
And they were able to come to the conclusion that was the conclusion. Like,
yeah, they learned about what a system was, and I guess their first thought was, I know who this is, and then sent me the information. And then later I went to a therapist and I was like, hey, this is what I think is going on. And they were like, yeah, that's definitely what's going on.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
at first I thought I had OSDD, which is having multiple system members but no amnesia. Because the thing is about amnesia is you don't remember that you have it.
That's true.
And then another system member, his trait is that he can remember everyone's memories.
Oh.
So he could tell that everyone did not remember everything else. And so he went and made a presentation of sorts in our head to everyone in our system that was like, hey.
Let's all get on the same page here.
We have DID, not OSDD.
Okay.
And then confirmed with our therapist. He made a convincing argument as if he was pitching some sort of business idea. He's like, here's why we have DID. And our therapist was like, I see, yes.
It reminds me of like what one of those old historians in the Library of Alexandria would be. And they're like, okay, here's all the documents, here's all the information, and let's explain it.
Yes, exactly. That's pretty much what he did.
Cool. So at the beginning, did you have like how many subsystem personalities did you notice were present when you first realized that you had DID?
At first, well, we can go back and recognize system members that existed before we had. It's called syscovery, system discovery. There's a term for everything in the system community.
I see.
And so we can go back mentally and see, like, okay, when we were 8, we had a system member. His name was James. And then when we were 13, we had a system member. And then we had another system member. Like, we can come back and count. And these members are all in our system now and aware of things and can tell us, like, yeah, I was here at this time.
Oh, I see.
But when we realized we had DID, there were 5 members, and it was not any of the early members.
Listen.
Okay. It was not any of the early system members. They had gone dormant, meaning that they had essentially gone for a very long sleep or had disappeared. The dormancy looks different for different systems. And so it was 5 members who, if I try to name them all, I will always forget one, so I'm not going to. Okay. But then new members started joining slowly, and then we kind of had an explosion in system member numbers where a bunch of members showed up and a bunch of old members came back.
Oh, man. It was a big party, huh?
It was a huge party. We had to remodel our headspace and everything.
Like
it was crazy.
It
was a family reunion that doesn't end. But yeah, it started out with 5, and then our system kind of kept growing and growing now that we were aware. It's very common for systems after they discover they're a system to have an explosion in members.
Okay, which is what happened to you.
Which is what happened to us, but it just kept happening also. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
But now instead of it was like it was steady and then it was exponential and now it's linear. So I would say like we're still getting new members, but it's sort of the rate of which we're getting them is sort of leveled off.
Oh, I see. That's gotta be a bit relieving, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So
it can be stressful to get a lot of new people constantly.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I just get stressed out in class sometimes. Like, there's a lot of people here. I can only imagine. So
you can imagine them being in your head.
Yeah. Oh man, it's hard to imagine. So what was that like when you had all these new personalities, jumping in and like constantly switching between them and trying to learn who everybody is? Like, what was that experience like?
A lot of it was aided by an app called Simply Plural, which keeps track of all your system members, and you can log when they switch in, when they switch out, as well as information about each one. And so if there's a member you don't know well, you can usually look at their profile and figure out a little more about them because the amnesia makes it hard to know everybody. There's a couple other apps we use for system communication. And then there's also the aid of people that I know IRL who can help me with like, oh yeah, I talked to this person, they said this, and I'm like, okay, thanks for letting me know. And they'll give me reminders, and they'll be like, this person said this and that person said that, and I'll be like, okay, great. And so there's definitely the help of people that I'm close to who can help and give me like reminders, let me know how people are, things like that. And we also can control our switching, which is not something most systems can do. And we don't have perfect control over it, but we can actually control who fronts based on what outfit we're wearing. So one particular headmate has a specific outfit. We can put on that outfit and they'll switch in. And so on the flip side, if we're not wearing their outfit, they can't switch in. And so there's a bit of a control in that sense that allows us to get to know people better by keeping in mind when they show up and how they can show up and making sure we can organize it in that sense.
Gotcha. And I remember you mentioning that some people can wear like many different outfits, right?
Yeah. So like I have several outfits, but they're all black and lime green.
Oh, okay.
So there's no one else that wears black and lime green in the system.
Gotcha.
There's other people who wear like lime green and white, or just lime green hoodie and jeans or something like that. But I have a very distinct style. No one else confronted my style.
I see. So how do you make the decision on who to switch to? Is it just kind of like who you're feeling that day, or is it like a response to some? Is it like in preparation of something? How do you make that decision?
It really depends. It can be either of those that you said. A lot of it depends on what tasks we have to do today and who we're going to be talking to.
Okay.
So, for example, I'm not afraid to tell all the information about our system that other members might be afraid of being fake claimed for, meaning like told like, oh, are you lying? Like, is that real?
Yeah,
that
kind
of
of
thing.
100.
I keep it 100.
Yeah.
And so I'm fronting for this.
Okay.
And I also have a big, bold personality.
Yeah.
And I know most things about the system. So I was chosen to front for this today.
Oh, I see.
And then other times just kind of like, I haven't seen this guy in a while. Maybe he should front.
Yeah. Let's see what he's up to. Yeah. Yeah. So when you kind of switch to a different headmate, that's the word. So do you like immediately recall all of their memories from
last time they
last
fronted?
time? Yeah.
Sometimes. It depends on how long it's been since they fronted and how important the things were that happened when they fronted last. So usually we'll get a general feeling of what they remember, but not specifics. And like we'll remember like who they're friends with, what they like to do, that kind of thing when they switch in. But they won't remember like, oh yeah, last time I fronted, I went to Publix and bought 3 bags of chips. Like it's not that specific.
Gotcha.
The memory is still as good as the body's memory capabilities are. Sometimes members that are really, really like far back in the system timeline confront and recall like, oh yeah, when we were 8 years old, we did this. And it's like, okay, nobody knew that, but okay. And they're the one who holds the memory from when we were 8 years old and did that or whatever.
Yeah.
But usually it's just a handful of memories rather than like remembering every single thing that they've done every single time they fronted.
Okay. So you kind of get like a vague, it's kind of like a general overview of like your past experiences with them. And
yeah.
That kind of helps you build your new experiences sort of thing. That's pretty interesting. So, I want to try to like empathize with you to some degree, and there's only a certain degree that I can, right? For many reasons. But what I wanted to mention was that, I'm a person who's worn many hats, so to speak. Like I've driven valet, and I've been an educator. I've been I've been a fisherman. I've been a student for a very long time. I've been a family member. Like I've done a lot of different things, right? I've served a lot of different roles, and it's kind of interesting how that works. Like, you're like the same person, like you're the same physical person, but you embody all of these different, like you're able to carry out so many different things, and you have so many different skills, and it's just a cool aspect of human nature. It's like
it is. So a system is like if you took all that to the extreme. Like you have the fisherman person, you have the valet person, you have the family member person. Like we literally have someone in our system whose role is be a dad, and he just functions as a father figure to many people. Things like that. We have one member who's really good at cooking, and that's her thing. She cooks. We have another member who's a disastrous baker, but that's what he likes to do, is he tries to bake. Tries is the key word. So it's as if you take these different facets of an individual's personality and instead develop them more. They're each their individual person, and then they all work together in a system to carry out the physical body's tasks. And like the singlet sona, like a persona of a singlet meaning single person, their tasks, what they're supposed to do. So, for example, we don't have a person who works food service. There's no designated person for that. So that's something that everyone has to work together for in order to achieve the food service task. But then we have other members who are like, oh, this is a public-facing member. This is a public-speaking member, like that kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah, and we worked together a few times, and so I've worked with like a few different subsystem personalities.
Just systems. System members.
System members. So
a subsystem is a system in a system.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I've worked with a few members of like the overall system. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
But they're not specified to one specific subsystem.
Yeah, that's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, and just for background for the listeners, we met at Bole. Yep.
Bole all day.
Bole all day. Yep. And we worked Thursday mornings. We had a few shifts together, and that is one thing I wanted to mention. You showed to me that you're a very hard worker and you're a very nice person. And
thank you.
I have a lot of respect for people who are hardworking and nice, and so you earn my respect and my trust, and that's a big reason I invited you to be on the show. So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. So that's got to be wild because there's just so many different things that you're capable of doing then. You know, like your skill set, you know, just at face value, it just must be like enormous because you essentially have like all these different types of people that are capable of are pretty good at different things, and you're capable of switching to all those people. So, you know, what's that like, being able to do so many different things?
Well, at times it can be a little bit tiring. It can be a little expensive too.
I can imagine.
But it definitely gives us, I think, a really good advantage when it comes to empathy and sympathy for others as well. Because not all of our members are particularly empathetic, but they're pretty sympathetic in most aspects. So if I meet somebody who has an experience that impacts them significantly, chances are one of our system members can relate. And so it makes it a lot easier than I think a singlet has the opportunity to have to empathize with somebody about something that they've been through, just because everyone in our system has such a diverse range of things that they've been through, things that they remember, things that they can do, that at least someone can usually understand someone else's experience.
And how has that helped you connect with people?
Well, it helps me connect with other systems often because sometimes they'll have a system member who has a very specific experience or a specific thing they want to talk about, and we can be like, I know somebody in our system who can help with that. And so we're able to create really complex webs of connection with other systems in that way.
Oh yeah, because that's like having two whole friend groups that are all friends with each other.
Yes.
You know, but like that's, you know, it's kind of like a factorial number of connections.
Yeah, it is.
That could kind of explode, I can imagine. Well, that's got to keep things interesting, though. You always have a new conversation with those sorts of folks, huh? Do you meet a lot of those people?
Not a lot of systems not online. I usually meet them online in system spaces because a lot of times systemhood, especially DID, one of the functions of it is to keep it a secret from other people and to mask as one person. And so in that sense, it's really hard to find other systems. And it's also not like and when you met me, you didn't know I was multiple people.
Yeah.
Because I present as one person. And so you'd have to be told. Sorry, that's my dog.
That's okay.
My service dog, Lego. He don't know we're a system. I've told him multiple times, but he doesn't seem to get it.
He's just not picking it up?
He's not picking it up.
Oh, man. But, okay, he'll figure it out.
Anyway, someone has to tell you that they're a system for you to know. And it's not like you're going to go and tell everyone you know that you're a system because the idea is a very marginalized condition. A lot of people hate on that condition, say it's evil, say like, oh, so you have an evil alter, and like, what if you just switch and become mean, and like all this stuff, that sort of thing. And like, which one's the real personality? That's something that systems get a lot. And it's just really tiring for a lot of systems to have to commonly explain like over and over, no, we're not terrible people just because we have DID, that sort of thing. And so it's not something a lot of people go around saying, I'm an exception. I can tell everybody. I'm like, yeah, I'm a system. I'm multiple people because I just can't function as one person. I'm not consistent in that way. So we pretty much have to tell everybody that we plan to get close to, like, hey, we're a system. This is how we function. If you don't respect that, don't talk to us. But
that's pretty honorable. You know, I feel like that's the way it should be. It's like, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I go through, and you know, take it for what it is. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's.
And I'm fine to be taking the educator role, which can be very tiring for other people. So I'm usually someone's first system that they've met. And so I'm happy to be like, this is what a system is, this is what a system does, this is how a system functions, and it varies for every system. But here's a general overview. That way the next system you meet doesn't have to explain all of this.
Yeah.
There's only a couple systems I know IRL and not online. One of them I met because the supervisor of the museum where I am, I know Lego is. Lego, leave him alone.
That's okay. Sorry. So
introduced me to another system.
Okay.
He didn't actually know his friend was a system until he told them about me.
Oh.
And his friend was like, I'm also a system.
They're like, no way.
And so now we're friends.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So that's really good.
Wow. And they're around here too?
They live in Gainesville.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. So, that's
and then I have several roommates who I kind of like was like, hey, I'm a system. And then later they were like, oh my God, I'm a system.
No way, really?
Yeah.
You ended up being roommates together?
Yeah.
What are the odds of that?
Well, we became roommates after that.
Oh,
we were friends before that.
Okay, I see. Well, that's gotta help.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's actually, thank you, Lego. It's actually fairly common. Not like everyone you meet's a system.
Yeah.
But it's more common than the media makes it seem because people are not public about being a system.
I see. Yeah. How common is it though? Because this completely, blew my mind when you told me. I mean, this is something I've never really encountered.
I don't know the exact numbers. The most recent thing that I remember glancing over, Lego, is something like 1 to 5% of the population, which means like 1 in 100 to 5 in 100 people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And is it common to be to such a degree that you experience it?
It's a very common response to stress, as far as the type of stress and trauma responses go. As far as like traumagenic conditions, it's one of the most common. So, in a way, yes, but there's also other, like, some people can find that their systemhood is influenced by many different things, and so it's not just like having a specific event before 8 years old and you're a system. Like, that tends to be the general consensus, but there's a lot more nuance than that.
I see. Yeah, the response mechanism seems somewhat common. I've met some people who are just like, yeah, I went through this thing, but I kind of just treat it like that was a different person in a different time. And I think it helps them kind of detach from the situation a little bit.
So DID, when you have a traumatic event or traumatic situation that causes DID, then usually there will be certain members of the system who hold that memory so that other members can function as normal. And so there is also that sense of, like what you said, take it to the extreme again. But within DID, it's just specific members will be the ones who are responsible for that memory, responsible for those feelings, like assigned by the brain to do those things. Other members will present and feel as if something did not happen, and they'll be able to function as it's called an apparently normal part, but other systems use different terms. That's like the official medical term. But there's a lot of different ways that it can present, and it just, it's definitely a coping mechanism of sorts for a lot of people to just have like members who can function as normal and then members who can process the memories and process the events that have happened and respond to stress in different ways. A lot of members who hold those memories will then become protectors, meaning that they'll front in other situations like that because they know how to handle it. Other members will just be trauma holders, meaning they don't have a specific role, but they hold the trauma so other members don't have to, that sort of thing. There's a lot of different roles within systemhood.
Well, the ones who carry the burden, they got to be very, very strong individuals, huh?
Yeah.
Because, they gotta carry all that, not only just for themselves, but for all the other subsystem characters, right?
System members, yeah.
System members, yeah. Wow, that's quite the burden. I mean, that brings me to another question I wanted to ask you. So how do you compartmentalize all this?
The brain does it itself. There's very little that we have a role in as far as the system goes. The brain will compartmentalize, there we go, the different traits, different memories, different experiences, and different skills into each person. And they all become specialists of sorts in their own specific way. And different system members have very different ways of compartmentalizing. Some systems don't compartmentalize much at all, and there's a lot of blending between members. And a lot of them are really similar. Or they'll compartmentalize in memories, but they won't I cannot say that word. Why do I keep saying it? They won't divide up things like emotions or emotional range. So something about our system is if one member is extremely upset, crying, having a breakdown, and someone else switches in, they won't feel any of that. They'll just wipe the tears away and be like, okay,
right, we're good.
Life is normal.
Wow.
But a lot of other systems, our system is kind of an exception in that way. A lot of other systems, if one member is really upset and someone else switches in, they'll gain those emotions and also become really upset. But they might handle it in a different way. So it definitely varies, but we compartmentalize to the extreme as far as systems go. Systemhood is already a bit of an extreme compartmentalization. We do it even more extreme. But that's just a function of the brain. That's the way our system works as far as just amnesia and also just the way things divide up.
And do you find that that's been really helpful to help you like get through tough times or process difficult things because you can kind of like split the burden amongst
Definitely. Like we have it as far as like big stress and little stress also. We have, for example, we got one system member who's really good at writing long papers. That's her thing. Wow. She's really good at it. So she's the one who's delegated to that task every time. We have other system members who are really good at doing small tasks that other members find overwhelming. So like refilling our med container. That's something that just a lot of us don't have the motivation to do. But that guy can do it. So he'll be our refilling the meds guy. He'll be our phone calls guy. He'll be our online orders guy, because most of us hate ordering online. We like to go in person, but not everything can be ordered in person. So he'll be that guy too. And so it's definitely helpful in that sense. But the amnesia it comes with is a lot less useful. It used to be useful because it was extremely important when having like blocking traumatic memories and such, blocking stressful things. But then when it's just like, I can't remember what I ate for breakfast today, that's not particularly helpful.
Well, Lucky, I'm reminded of just a few some tough things I've gone through. I've had a few concussions, and amnesia was a consequence of that, and so I have a hard time remembering things, and that's part of the reason I have to write things so many times, because like it's the only way for me to like really understand it, and the conclusion I came to was like, well, it keeps things interesting, I guess.
Everything gets new and fresh. And it's so fun and interesting to find out over and over sometimes.
For real. Like, it's like the first time all over again. Every time,
it is a little bit like that. And sometimes it can be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that we had chocolate. This is great. Last time I found out we didn't have chocolate. It's just a lovely surprise.
For real, yeah. Like, oh wow, I had no idea I like this so much. Yeah, they used to go to my friends and they're like, Nicholas, we talked about this. I'm like, I'm still hype about it. I don't know. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. But yeah, I've gotten that. I've gotten some like the last one I got some sort of like aphasia Are you familiar?
Oh yeah, I have aphasia as well. Just
really?
a specific system member holds the aphasia actually.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's helpful. Yeah. So sometimes I'll know what I want to say and like I'll say something else, but like I didn't mean to say the other thing. It's just a consequence of that. So yeah, I mean, part of the reason I undertook this endeavor was because I've also gone through a lot of hard things, and the idea is, maybe if I share it and maybe if I talk about it and maybe if I learn different ways to heal from it, then maybe that can help other people in the process. And so yeah, that's okay. So but let's kind of take a different approach here. So what else are you up to? Like, I mean, of course you have the idea, but you have a whole life outside of that. So like, what's your day-to-day life like?
I do a lot of crochet. I do a lot of yarn crafts. So like, I'll show you this. I made this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Look at that. That's a completely hand crocheted shell.
Yes, because Iggy Koopa, my original source, would have this shell. And so I like to wear this shell. Thank you, Lego. But I do a lot of crochet. I make a lot of items for different system members to feel more comfortable in their body. And so we have shells, hats, different clothes, just a lot of different things. So we don't have to buy stuff. We can make it instead. Of course, we have to buy the materials, but that's not relevant. And there's other stuff that we make more for fun. Like, I made myself a tail just because I wanted a tail.
Oh, wow.
So I made this.
What's that made out of?
Yarn.
Oh, that's yarn.
You would never guess it.
Yeah, for real. It doesn't look like yarn. Yeah. Oh, is that the technique you said where you just kind of like take it apart?
Yeah. So you take the yarn, you cut it into little strips, you knot the little strips, and then you fluff it out using a slicker brush like you use for cats. And then you tie it onto a long braid, and then it makes just a bunch of fluff.
Oh, wow.
On a string.
That's so cool.
And so you have a tail. It's very, very simple. It's simpler than it looks. It looks kind of complicated, but it's not that bad, especially if you have experience with just like yarn as a concept. Yeah.
Yes, as a construct. Yeah. It reminds me of some hardcore math that I'm doing. I'm like, dude, it's easier than it looks. Trust me. Everybody's like, dude, that is hieroglyphics. I don't know what you're
all the symbols, all the letters.
For real. I have a big exam on Monday.
Oh, no.
Yeah. First master's level chemical kinetics exam.
Oh, my.
Yeah, big deal.
Best of luck for that.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel prepared.
All right, good.
Yeah. And I'll prepare more. I'll probably study for another 4 hours after this.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of academics, my other academic thing, well, my academic thing, not other academic thing, is I'm in grad school for American history. I have a bachelor's. I have a bachelor's in history and a bachelor's in religion. And I'm getting my master's in American history through an online program specifically for teachers and museum professionals. I'm associate curator of a museum here in Gainesville. And so I was able to get into the program through that. So that's another thing I'm doing, just one class at a time while I work on getting a different job that is more full-time so I can have more of a routine. And then I might do 2 classes at a time. But I just started this semester.
Did you say that's for the master's program?
Yeah.
For a master's of history? So sorry, just to make sure I understand. So you have a bachelor's in history, and now you're pursuing a master's in history.
Yeah, specifically American history.
American history. Got it. And what made you want to study history?
When I was in high school, I was not interested in history at all. I was like, this is the worst. I hate this. And then I listened to Hamilton. And for some reason, what I got out of Hamilton was George Washington is a fascinating individual. I want to read a biography about him. So that I did. And I was like, well, why stop here? So I read a biography of every president. And I was like, I like history. And then I took 2 AP history classes, one of them as an elective in junior year, and then continued with studying history just kind of independently. I found an interest in historiography, which I didn't even realize was a discipline. I was just kind of doing it myself.
Yeah. So
I would read a biography of James Madison, who became like my favorite person to study at the time. I would read a biography of him from 2017. And then I'd read one from 1954. And I'd compare them. Like, how do they present James Madison? How do they present Dolly Madison? How do they talk about the issues that he faced? That sort of thing. Just compare how over time historians have changed how they look at James Madison. Turns out that's called historiography. Not specifically with James Madison, but looking at how history has been studied over time. So the history of history. And right now my grad school course is actually on historiography. And so I am going to study for my final paper for that course. I'm going to study how historians of James Madison have looked at Dolly Madison. Since there aren't that many historians of Dolly Madison, but I can look at how they've seen Dolly Madison through the lens of being James Madison's wife.
That's such a fascinating topic because it's somewhat tangential, and I feel like it would really speak a lot about society's view on the like the support systems of these really prolific figures.
Because she sort of defined the first lady role.
Oh, really?
So she's seen as, she was also Jefferson's first lady of sorts. Because she wasn't his wife, but she took all the functions as first lady because his wife had already passed away by the time he became president. And so she took over that role and then continued that role when James Madison was president.
Oh, wow.
And so she sort of defined it as a social role that the wife of the president takes up that continues to this day.
Yeah, because they really do have an important role. I mean, it reminds me of the saying, "For every great man, there's an even greater woman with them."
Yeah.
And yeah, they've really done some incredible things. I think Michelle Obama did a lot of good things. I think she did a lot of good things for nutrition and helping people get healthy, and I think they did some good stuff for education, and it's just so that's a fascinating topic. So do you think DID helps you understand history to a certain extent that other people wouldn't?
I would say it can and it can't. There's the problem of amnesia, definitely. So if I do a history assignment, no one else is going to remember that history assignment. And so here I've put all this work, done all this learning, done all this reading mostly. No one else is going to remember that. So they'd have to go back and do it again if they wanted the same level of comprehension that I had. Or they could just look at my notes. They could look at my assignment that I turned in, and they can get a general overview from that. So we have to put in a little extra work as a system in order to make sure we can remember what we did 2 days before. So that can be a little inconvenient. On the other hand, we can get members who have a particular interest in a specific subject that we're looking at. They can study it, and they might become passionate enough about it that it actually reaches the collective memory.
Wow.
Whereas a lot of times a singlet would not be passionate about every single historical topic that they're going to learn about in a class. Usually we can get someone for every topic that there's an interesting thing to for every member.
So,
and then of course there's the member who's really good at writing long papers.
Of course. Yeah, they gotta help out a lot. So is a lot of academics with this kind of setting yourself up for success? If being able to document your work to such a degree that if another subsystem member looked at it, they would kind of understand when you understood, or do you?
It depends. I mean, a lot of it depends on how good the notes are. Because not everyone is I'm going to take such good notes that every system member is going to know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just I want to get through the class.
Yeah.
I want to get through the day.
Give me the bullets.
Give me the bullet points.
Yeah.
Right, and then sometimes I'll open up my notes and I'll look at what was done the previous week, and it'll be 2 lines, and I'll be oh god.
Oh no, I forgot all of it. No, you gotta read it again.
It was not fun in one of our classes that no one was particularly passionate about because we didn't like the lecturing style of the professor. And so a lot of the times it was just, let's get the guy who's good at doing stuff at front, and he doesn't care about it, but he'll do the stuff. So then that became the majority of that class was just that one guy who's really good at doing stuff, writing down all the notes, doing the exam, and finally we got through it. Oh my god, a whole semester. And it was just not fun.
Oh man, that poor guy.
Poor guy. Well, he doesn't mind. He likes having time to front. He likes being helpful, but he was not particularly happy about that role.
Oh, I can imagine. I bet. I've been through some of those classes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the collective memory. What's that?
Collective memory is what everyone has access to, and it's very limited, and it's also weird in its selections. Something in the collective memory, for example, is use the app Simply Plural to track your fronting. Everybody does that. And so everyone, when they come to front, the first thing they do is they put in Simply Plural, I'm fronting. So that's an example of something being in the collective memory. There's random fun facts that are in the collective memory, and there's a grand total of 2 jokes in the collective memory.
Oh man, they got some good jokes.
No, they're not that good. They're both about animals who interrupt. There's knock knock.
Interrupting cow?
Huh?
Interrupting
cow. The other one is, what do you call a snake that interrupts?
What do you call a snake that interrupts?
Disruptive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're not very good.
Whatever gets a chuckle.
Yeah, so like if we're ever told like, for some reason we get put in this situation a lot. There's some awkward silence. Somebody goes, anyone got any jokes? We're there. We got them.
We got 2.
We got 2 jokes.
Yeah, look out on deck.
Exactly. And then other things in the collective memory are like, we're gluten free. Don't eat gluten. Bad things will happen if you eat gluten. That kind of thing. We're vegetarian. Don't eat meat. People will be mad at you if you eat meat. And then a couple other things like, this room is your room. This dog is your dog. That kind of thing. This is when you walk the dog. This is when you feed the dog. So just basic functioning. So it's basic functioning, random fun facts, and 2 jokes. Gotcha. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
And then also a little bit about system functioning. Gotcha. But that one takes a little while for new members to actually get access to. So usually new members, when they show up, they know pretty much nothing except Simply Plural. Like put yourself in Simply Plural because it's just such a routine at this point. They usually have to be told most other things, but then within a few hours and sometimes a couple days, they'll remember the collective memory.
Wow. Well, that's helpful. So that way if someone doesn't show up, they're like, whose dog is this? What room is this? Where am I? Whose outfit is this? What am I doing here?
And also they'll have like a mental list of people they can contact who will tell them about like, hey, this is what a system is. This is how you're here, that kind of thing.
Oh, really? So there's certain people that you contact sometimes to help you kind of refresh on?
Mostly just to help new members get oriented.
Oh, I see. New members. How often do you get new members?
Usually once a week.
Once a week?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Oh, man.
I said we get them at the slightest stressor.
Yeah, how are you not running out of real estate?
Our headspace is a house that just keeps getting more stories added to it.
Oh my gosh, I hope one of them's like a construction guy.
That actually is a system role called an architect, and it's the one who can change headspace, and we have one of those.
Oh, that's so cool. What do they? Yeah. What do you mean change headspace?
So we used to all live in an apartment. It got very crowded very quickly.
I can imagine.
And so that one specific member, who's known as whose role is being the architect, was able to just be like, this is too crowded. We're in a house now. And so our headspace was changed for everybody to be a house. We had tried changing it before, but it would only change for the specific member who tried changing it. So like they would be in a house and then someone else would switch in and they'd be back in the apartment. But that specific member is able to change headspace and remodel headspace in a way so that everybody can see, I'm in this new place. This is where I front. This is where I live when I'm not fronting. That sort of thing. Gotcha.
So when someone takes the front, so do they front from their space or do they go to a separate?
That depends on the system. It used to be we had to stand in a specific place or sit on the couch at the specific place, and we could front from there. Okay. But then, this is very silly. I don't know why they call it this. They call it the portable front 5000, but it's just like a thing you can hold where you can front from anywhere in the house.
Oh wow!
So like they can't front from outside the house, but now front is more of something that you have rather than somewhere you go.
Gotcha. It's like the talking stick.
It's exactly what it is.
Wow, that's cool. And you mentioned they all paid rent. How does that work?
So, our headspace is oddly realistic in some ways.
Oh, I see.
So we have members who can snap their fingers and we all live in a house, but we have to pay rent for that house.
Oh, man.
And so some members have to work their 9 to 5 in order to make enough money to pay rent for the house. And because of how our system works, we're not consciously aware of it at all times. but we do have like this understanding that like, okay, this person goes to work, that person goes to work, and they make money, and we will pay rent, and there's never a financial issue. Like, we're never like, oh my god, are we going to pay rent this month? Like, that's not a problem. It's just a thing about our headspace that we know as a fact. Like, we have to pay rent. If we don't pay rent, we'll get evicted. That kind of thing. But like, we're not going to stop paying rent because we don't want to get evicted.
Right.
So we don't really. It's just like some sort of rule within our headspace that we don't really pay attention to, that we just know is there.
I see.
It's very unusual.
Yeah.
Most systems are not like that.
We got to establish order somehow.
Yeah. So there is some sort of order in that sense, but a lot of systems will be like, my headspace is an island, and I live on this island, and all my headmates live on the island, and it's great, and they don't pay rent.
It's like Animal Crossing.
I guess it would be like Animal Crossing in that way. And then there are other systems where like my headspace is a city, and everyone has their own house, and all of us travel to the front, and that kind of thing, and they probably don't pay rent. It's just like their city. And I've told other systems about my headspace, and they're like, you have to pay rent to live in your own head. And I'm like, I know.
For real. Like, in this economy? Like, me too. And so, do you ever run into a situation where you want somebody to front and they're working? They're
able. So, this is a theoretical problem that you would think would happen. But it just never comes up.
Okay, thank God.
It used to be a problem.
Oh, really?
It used to be there was one member who could only front at certain times of the day because other times he was at his job. But for some reason, that just became a non-issue.
Okay.
Where it was just like, yeah, theoretically this person would be at work, but they're just not.
Gotcha. So then you're like, oh man, he's not delivering pizzas. You can't.
He can't come help you. He's not delivering pizzas.
Yeah, for real. How are we supposed to get this stick?
Yeah, but we do have a couple members where it's like, yeah, they're supposed to be at school right now because we have some members who are children and they'll go to school in Headspace. And it'll be like, yeah, they're supposed to be in school right now, but they snuck out so they can front.
Well, that's cool. So do you ever have? So are there ever like groups of subsystem members that get together and try to get on the same page about something, or is it always one at a time that you're focusing on?
We have like co-fronting where multiple members can front at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And that's something we're trying to do more to help with our amnesia. And we're trying to do weird combinations too. Like, I'll get this member and this other member who have never talked, and they can front together, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. And they'll be like, I have no idea who you are. And then they'll have a great time meeting each other, even though we live in the same head, so you'd think they'd know each other, but no. But so in that sense, there can be like a getting together and sharing of memories and things like that, and like getting to know people and then becoming friends with each other. And sometimes they'll hang out outside of front, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, they all went to the ice cream shop while they weren't fronting, like that kind of thing. We usually have like NPC type lives while we're not fronting. Like, we'll have a list of places we go, or a list of things we say, and a list of things we do. And that'll be like what we do when we're not at front, because the brain doesn't have enough processing power to be consciously aware of every single person at every single time. So most people end up being NPCs of sorts when they're not at front. And then they'll have their friends that they hang out with and things like that. And then other times in meditation, we can get groups of people together, or the whole system together at times, and make some sort of announcement or explain a certain thing or something like that.
Interesting. An announcement. So can you tell everybody something at the same time?
If we meditate hard enough, we can get information spread to everybody.
Oh, wow. So you can deliberately add to the collective memory if you want.
Yes. So that's what one of the members did when he was like, hey, we all have DID, not OSDD. What he did was he meditated and got everyone together and was like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the thing. This is what it means for us. That sort of thing. So he had to prepare a little like presentation in our head and tell everybody.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we can deliberately add to the collective memory in that way. But it's also very difficult for us to meditate because it's hard to get everyone together, and it's hard to not just like get distracted or get one person up front who's like, I'm bored, I don't want to do this. That sort of thing. And so it's not as like simple as like, oh, well, just meditate and then you don't have any amnesia anymore. It's not quite that simple, but it is useful for the occasional adding to the collective memory.
Gotcha. So is meditating something you do frequently, or just kind of
not really? Just when there's a big thing we need to share with everybody. Sometimes we intentionally don't meditate in order to prevent certain memories from getting to members who can't really handle them at the moment.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So, like, if we're really anxious about something, we won't meditate because then other people will learn about the anxiety and become anxious about it when that's not their job as a system member.
I see. You watched Adventure Time, right?
I have not.
You haven't seen it?
No.
It's the best ever. You would love it. Yeah, there's... I don't know. I'm just reminded of this episode where they, like, go into Finn's mind. He's, like, the main character. He's, like, a little adventure guy. And you know, they went all the way down to, like, the bottom of his memory, and he had, like, a vault. And he was like, oh, don't open the vault. He's like, we don't go in there. You know? And, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people do that. I feel like a lot of people have a certain vault where they're just like, okay, like, let's not access that.
Yeah, we definitely have system members who have access to the vault and keep it locked.
They got the keys?
Yeah, they got the keys.
Oh, man. Wow. For some reason lately, my vault's been like, it's been like cracked open, and I'm like, how do I shut that again? But I've had a hard time with that. But
I mean, if the vault is opening itself, then it probably means that your brain thinks it's ready to process it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how it is for systems, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because there's a lot I can say about that. But, like, you know, as I can imagine you feel sometimes, it's like I'm a very unique individual. Like, I'm very unlike a lot, like, everybody around me. That's pretty much always been the case. You know, like, I'm an only child, and it's a very singular individual lifestyle, right? And so just as I've gotten older, you know, I started to question, it's like, okay, why do I act differently from everybody else? Why do I have these certain mannerisms or these certain capabilities that other people seem to lack? And I've just been trying to, like, go back and figure out, like, okay, maybe these series of things happened and this is what led to that outcome. So I don't know. I journal a lot. Maybe I overthink things, but
definitely possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also important to have a sort of self-reflection for yourself, trying to figure out who you are and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's good to try to understand yourself and figure out.
Systemhood kind of makes you understand yourself, but to the extreme, as I've been saying, for many things with systemhood, you kind of have to have a self-awareness of yourself in order to realize you're a system and figure out how to function.
Exactly.
And there's, like, a hyper sense of identity for a lot of members, or else you get blurry, meaning that, like, you don't know who's at front, or you can't be at front very strong. So so for our system, at least, there tends to be a really, like, hyper awareness of who you are and how you act and that kind of thing to make sure you can stay at front.
And yeah, what is that hyper awareness like?
So a lot of it plays in, like, seeing ourselves both in headspace and in the outer world. It's called inner world, outer world. So different words for headspace, inner world, and headspace. But so, like, when I see myself in this world, I will also envision myself in the inner world to keep track of, like, this is who's at front, this is what we're doing, that sort of thing. And then also different system members, when they first come to front, will be sure to use their voice, be sure to dress the way they do, use their mannerisms, that sort of thing, so that the brain can kind of remember how to act as them. And remember, like, oh yeah, this is this person. It kind of, like, loads it, and then that person can kind of stop hyper focusing on it, and then kind of just relax and be themselves. But there's definitely that moment or series of moments of hyper awareness of, like, this is who I am and this is how I act, and the brain needs to figure out how to load me really quick so that I can take front.
Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like loading up, like, a program or a software. It's just like, okay, we got to get it all loaded up before we can start using it, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and then for me, for example, I kind of have an advantage because I manifest in the body in a different physical way than the other people do. So when I come to front, my heart rate shoots up. So everyone knows I'm at front. If I start coming to front and I don't announce myself, they'll know anyway because our heart rate shoots up. And so the brain can load me really quickly because it's like, oh yeah, heart rate shoots up. That's Ictus. Here's Ictus. And then I'm able to front. I'm able to front without all of my accessories even, as long as I can keep the heart rate up.
Oh, wow.
And that just kind of happens naturally when I front. So it kind of, like, aids itself. And my blood pressure is also higher. Like, my when I go to acupuncture, my acupuncture pulses are different, like that kind of thing, from everyone else in the system. So I just manifest differently in a physical sense.
Well, is that kind of deliberate? Like what causes that?
That's not deliberate. It's just a thing that happens with me. Different system members can have different ways they feel physically. So like we have one system member who doesn't feel any chronic pain because we have chronic illness, but he doesn't feel any chronic pain. We have other system members who feel a lot of chronic pain. And so it's almost as if different parts of the brain get activated when in terms of physical sense, when a different mental part is activated.
Interesting. Like there's a literal physiological response to the shift in psychology that occurs.
Yeah. And there's actually been MRI scans that show for some systems that different parts of the brain will literally like light up in an MRI sense when different members are fronting. So it's like a different part of the brain is associated with a specific person in the system. And that can also cause different physical parts, like physical related to the body parts, to activate when a system comes to front. So like the aphasia part of our brain will activate when a certain member comes to front. And our light sensitivity can activate when a system member comes to front, that sort of thing. So not everyone is dealing with every physical symptom at the same time either.
You can kind of like parse out the ailments.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be helpful because then you don't have to deal with it all at once.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that just can't be handled all at once, and that's why systemhood can happen for a lot of people.
So is this like a hereditary thing? Is this something like what causes DID? Is there any research on that?
There is research on it. A lot of times it's just a lot of stress. The brain doesn't know how to handle it. Let's create another person because they can handle it, and then this other person can handle something else. That's the general, usual way that DID will present. That's like the most common way. And then OSCD is the same way, but just without the memory blocking. And so it'll be more like this person has this skill set rather than this person holds the memories. But DID can be like skill set and memories. So that's usually how it happens, is just the brain thinks that it will function better if there's multiple people who are helping out. That's sort of the consensus. But there's a lot of research that has not been done because DID and systemhood as a whole is just very, very under-researched.
Interesting. And are you interested in like learning more about it? Like, are you kind of like, are you being kind of like a student of it?
Well, I don't really like learning about it in the psychological sense because a lot of it is just, I don't know, something parts. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And we don't like parts language.
Yeah.
A lot of DID clinical stuff is parts language. Like, oh yeah, there's the little part. And then there's the trauma holder part. And it's like seeing them only as their roles in psychology. Whereas system communities and like I'm in a lot of Discord servers for systems. A lot of it is more like, here's a person, here's another person. Yeah, we have these roles, but that's not really relevant to who we are. It's just sort of, I'm all these different people. And let's meet each other and communicate about how our system functions and that sort of thing. So I like learning from other systems, like how they function. I think that's fascinating. And I like learning system community terms like inner world and architect and all that other stuff, rather than just the clinical version of DID.
I see.
Because the clinical version of DID is just the diagnostic sheet, really.
Yeah.
There's not really much else. And then there's some other stuff that's like, wow, that's so fascinating. I had no idea that systems could experience this. And it's stuff that I've experienced my whole life. And I'm like, well, yeah, every system I know does this. But in the psychological sense, to people who are outside of the DID community, it's like, oh my gosh, did you know different system members can have different skills? And it's like every system I know experiences this. So it just can get a little exhausting to read it on the clinical side.
Yeah. And I can imagine the scientific approach is very one-dimensional, like you were saying, because as an outsider, I can imagine it can be hard to be open-minded to the fact that it's so three-dimensional, as you said, so it almost seems like the best way to learn about it is to hear it from the people who are actually experiencing it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I like to learn about it, is just through other systems who I meet online. And then we talk about, like, this is how my system functions. This is what my system does. And it's like, wow, that's so interesting. I have to pay rent to live in my own head. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's not going to be any scientific paper that's like, did you know some system members have to pay rent? Like, that's not going to come out. That's not something, like, that's the kind of thing I'm interested in, is how other people's headspaces function, for example.
Yeah.
But that's not, you're not going to find that on the clinical side. You're just going to see, like, some parts see their brain as something like this. And it's like, that's very invalidating in a lot of ways.
It's very one-sided, or it's very, it just doesn't give you the whole picture, really, you know, because, you know, it just seems a lot more complex than I imagine scientists would make it out to be. Because they like to be very logical. They like to be very, like, one domino falls, and then the next falls, and the next falls, and the next falls. But, like, you know, it just reminds me of podcasts I've listened to from scientists, and a lot of them say, like, a lot of these things are a lot more complex than we think they are. And
yeah, DID and systemhood is definitely one of those things. It's extremely complex, and there's just a lot of stuff that is just not known about it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why, like, interdisciplinary work really fascinates me a lot, you know, because I like when there's, like, a whole bunch of different professions coming together to, like, research one thing. And it's, like, it's just so interesting to see all these different perspectives on the same problem, you know, because, like, an engineer's standpoint is going to be a lot different from, like, a psychologist or, like, a lawyer or a doctor or, you know, whoever. And it's, I don't know, it's just interesting to see how people have such different perspectives on the same topic, you know.
Another big difference between the clinical side and the community side about systemhood is clinical side tends to see it as something to be cured because it's a disorder, whereas systemhood sees it more as a neurodivergence, just a different way of thinking, a different way the brain works. And it's not something that should be gotten rid of. There are some systems who would prefer to not be a system, and they might pursue something called final fusion, which is becoming one person again. Yeah. And that's totally fine. But a lot of the clinical side is like, this is the solution to systemhood. And it's like, well, it's not a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the way you see the world and the way you live, you know. And you know, I can really get fired up about this, but, like, that's like a big problem I've had with like doctors and medical professionals. They're like, oh, he has this or he has that. He needs to be cured and treated. It's like, no, what if that's just who he is? It's like, why don't you help him, like, you know, play to his strengths and figure out who he is instead of trying to, like, medicate him and sedate him and make him think the way that you want to think. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like that's something that has really bugged me. It's like, why are you assuming this kid has a problem just because they're so hyperactive or because they're so, like, all over the place? It's like, what if you just find a way to, you know, direct that energy into something that isn't, you know, by the metrics of success that you have stated?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I don't know. It's just been frustrating me. Like, just even from my perspective growing up, it's like I was really smart and, like, I wanted to focus on all these different things. And, like, you know, sometimes I got the sense that people thought something was wrong with me, but it's just like, no, this is just who I am. It's like, who's to say you're right and I'm wrong, you know? Or vice versa. Why can't we just live with different personalities and have that be okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't really know where I'm going with that. I just think that people should be more accepting that other people have different perspectives and other people have different ways of viewing the world, and that's okay.
And some people have multiple perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. I'm preaching to the choir, like, you know. So, what's your take on that?
I definitely agree with that. I think it's very important to recognize every system is different. Every system has different goals for itself, but generally speaking, no assumption should be placed on every system. Like, there should not be the assumption of, like, oh, you have DID, I'm so sorry. And it also shouldn't be, you have DID, oh, I'm so happy for you. Like, that's also not an okay response for a lot of systems.
Yeah.
And so there just needs to be a lot of nuance when it comes to systemhood and neurodivergence as a whole. It's a different way of functioning. Some people want to change it who have that different way of functioning. Some people are really passionate about keeping it. We're very passionate about being a system. We would not want to be any other way, even if we get new members every week. It's fun.
Yeah.
We'll just function like that.
The more the merrier.
More the merrier. You get more friends that way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
More friend per friend.
Yeah.
That's what one of my friends always says.
More friends per friend.
And so I'm definitely very passionate about, like, don't try to just cure something because it's different.
Yeah.
There are some things that would be great to be cured. I don't want to have celiac disease and be gluten-free my whole life, but that's probably my life, and that's okay. But there are other things that I'm like, maybe don't try to cure it just because it's not the way you want it to be.
Or at least wait until they're like an adult and then have them make the decision for themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, have them do their own research, have them come to their own conclusions, have them find help, and then, if they want help or if they want some different avenue of treatment, then by all means. But I don't think that should be forced upon anyone.
Yeah. Like, I have a therapist who I really like, and she's completely accepting of me not wanting to fuse. And she is totally fine with trying to work out our intersystem issues without ever promoting any sort of like cure for anything. She'll just talk to whoever fronts for the appointment about the issue that they're having and help them as an individual, rather than trying to just be like, well, for the whole system, this solution, that kind of thing. She's very, very open-minded about seeing us all as completely different people and helping us on an individual scale. So the clinical side can be bad, but there's definitely exceptions as well. I didn't want to just leave it at like, everyone on the clinical side is terrible and they all support fusion and all this stuff, because there's definitely a lot of good therapists out there, just as many as there are bad therapists out there for systemhood.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a very case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way it should be. It's like, this is an individual and they have a very idiosyncratic view of the world and they should be treated accordingly.
Yeah.
What do you mean by fusion? What does that
So
mean?
fusion means, like, if just fusion as a system term, fusion as a system term is more than one member becoming one member. Final fusion is all members becoming one member.
Oh, it's like a convergence.
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't be fun. That's way less fun. Are you kidding?
Some systems need to do it in order to preserve their functioning. Some systems, for example, are only able to function as one specific member might hold one specific memory and have no idea how to do certain tasks. In which case, some members, that system might decide this member should fuse with another member who holds no memories and can do tasks. And so there can definitely be instances in which systems are like, fusion is the solution for us. And that's completely valid for them to do.
Yeah.
But there are also a lot of systems who are like, I don't want to fuse. That's like losing our personhood in an individual sense in order to create some sort of collective personhood that we don't really need. So it's very case by case.
I see. Is there ever a divergence where one character can become two?
One member can become two, yeah. That's usually when subsystems happen.
Oh, I see.
So a subsystem is a system in a system.
Yeah.
So there'll be multiple people within one member in the system.
Wow.
So one member can become two members. If they can become a subsystem, they can share a body in headspace, or they can just be two separate people. That's also definitely possible.
Can be two separate people. Wow.
Like within the headspace.
Wow.
And then they might not have any relation to each other whatsoever, but except for the fact that they split from the same person.
Gotcha. Huh. It's like having a roommate that's like your twin sibling or something.
Yeah, a little bit like that, yeah.
Kind of. In a way. Like fraternal. Or paternal. Whichever.
I guess it depends. Sometimes it can be like a double, like just complete copy.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like a twofer?
Yeah, like a twofer.
It's a BOGO, dude.
Yeah, you get BOGO.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's cool. So tell me about this app that you use to kind of keep it all organized. What's that like?
So Simply Plural allows you to create different profiles for every member of the system. There's no limit, thankfully. And then there's tracking information for front. So, for example, they'll have my name and then a button for front. So when I front, I just press the button, and then it keeps track of when I'm fronting. And when I leave front, I press the button, or whoever comes to front presses the button to say, I'm not fronting anymore. And so we have a list of every system member with a button next to them that's like, this person is fronting. And it's just a little plus sign. And so you just press the plus sign when you come to front, and then you can go to data and front history and look at who fronted on whatever day. So for example, if on February 5th, we went to a certain class and we don't remember what happened, we can look at who fronted on February 5th and say, oh, look who was fronting. It was this person. Let's ask them about class. So it can be very useful in that sense.
Oh, yeah, because then you can coincide it with your calendar and be like, oh, this person took this class, so they would probably know the material.
Yeah, exactly. Like if they didn't write anything down, we can talk to them. And then also it can be useful because I can come to front and look at the last time I fronted, because every individual member has their individual front history listed as well when you click on their profile. So I can go to front and be like, oh, I haven't fronted in a month, which never happens to me. I front like all the time. But like someone else can come to front and look at like, oh my God, I haven't fronted in a month. What's happened this last month? So then they can look at other things and they can like look back at our Google Photos for the last month and get an idea of what's happened and who's fronted.
Oh.
Most of the times it'll just be pictures of Lego, but it can be useful sometimes.
Yeah, that's always useful.
So we have different methods of looking at it, but the app is just really helpful of keeping track of everybody. Mm-hmm. You can also put people in folders based on roles.
Oh, wow.
Based on whatever actually you want. We have a lot of silly folders too. For some reason, we have a lot of members who don't have hair. So we have a folder called They Are Bald. So like, definitely not all useful folders.
Well, how does that work? Do you wear like a little bald cap or something?
No. Like they have, like they'll wear specific hats in Headspace. Or like some of them have helmets and they just don't have hair. Or some of them will be like an animal that doesn't have hair or something like that. And so, or like based on an animal that doesn't have hair. I don't know why we have so many bald members, but it's like a third of us. It's ridiculous.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Man.
But anyway, but they have their different ways of presenting. Like one of our members who has a helmet and doesn't have hair, he'll just put our hair up in a hair stick because that's just the most comfortable for him. Other members will wear their hair down. Like their Headspace appearance doesn't necessarily dictate how they look in the outer world. But yeah, no one wears a bald cap, but we do have one member who wears like a really small beanie.
Oh wow!
So like, and hides all the hair in the beanie. But
oh man.
But anyway, we have folders divided by role, and we also have folders divided by demographics because sometimes we can tell like, okay, one of the girls is gonna front, but we don't know which girl, so we'll look at the list of girls, for example. And we'll be like, okay, this is the one trying to front. Or sometimes it'll be like, okay, we're stressed and we have to go to work. Let's look at the folder of people who can go to work, and we'll pick one of them.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So that kind of helps you organize, like, who's best for this occasion.
Yeah. And, like, who has what role, who's good for what situations. We have, like, capable of resting. We have a lot of members who are not good at resting. So we have a capable of resting folder.
Oh, man, I need one of those. Yeah, I have a hard time resting. So do you sometimes feel like one member is trying to emerge in front and you have a hard time finding out who exactly that is?
That can happen at times, yeah. It's not very often because we can control front usually, but sometimes when we get blurry and we don't know and no one can particularly take front, then sometimes it's like, okay, I kind of get the idea that this person is fronting, but I don't quite know who. And then we can look at the list and see like who can really front, who's trying to front.
I see.
That sort of thing.
I see. And you mentioned that some are based off animals?
Yeah, we have one particular member who has two sources. A source is where you come from as a system member. So like if you're an interject, you have a source. He's partially based on a dog that my parents have. Oh. I don't know why. Don't know. He's kind of chaotic. And then also partially based off of a podcast narrator of a podcast we've listened to one episode of. So like it's Welcome to Night Vale. And it's like he's partially based on that guy, partially based on our dog. And so he takes the form of like a anthropomorphic dog with a cloud with a question mark for a head.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't really front. His name is the narrator.
Oh.
Nobody knows what he does.
Oh, wow.
So, like, we have that member. We have another member who's just a really enthusiastic dog. But he can, like, talk when he fronts and stuff. It's just that in Headspace, he presents as just a really enthusiastic dog. I think he's a golden retriever.
That makes sense, yeah.
And then we have, trying to remember who else. We have other members that are, like, whose source is a character who's based on an animal. And so there's that as well. But there are a lot of non-human members in a lot of systems because sometimes a lot of systems feel that their experiences are apart from human. And so a lot of times that'll manifest in that way.
What do you mean apart from human?
So like if a system feels like they've had to take a really big leadership role, for example, a very much of a directive role in a lot of things, but also having a really big sense of community within their family, within their outside community, whatever, they might feel more wolf-like, and they might have a member who's more wolf-like, that sort of thing.
Kind of taking on the characteristics of a certain
Yeah, and then
species.
And then that'll sort of manifest in a more extreme, as I've been saying, way within the system of having like a wolf headmate who's really dedicated to like the type of thing that a wolf is stereotypically said to be dedicated to. If there's a system who has a lot of dedication to being helpful to other people and also is very positive, they might end up having more dog headmates because dogs are stereotyped to be really helpful and really positive. It's like that sort of thing. And then other systems might feel that they were spiritually another animal in a past life. That's another thing that's very common with systems.
Oh, wow.
Or certain members will feel that way, where they're like, my source is, I used to be I want to say wolf again, but sure, wolf. I was a wolf in a past life, and now I'm here in this world. My soul has been transferred. Like, there's a lot of spirituality and a lot of systemhood as well.
Oh, so they follow different doctrines and religions too?
Well, just like any person does, different systems do as well. And then there's some systems who view themselves very, very clinically. Like, oh, I am made of parts. I am the host. I am the core who is born into the body, and everyone else is an alternate version of me. Like that sort of thing. That's also very common within systemhood. It's just very different ways. So there's a lot of different extremes. Some systems view themselves as purely spiritual, and then others view themselves as fully clinical and psychological. So it's just there's a lot of different ways to view it.
I see. And you, Ictus, right? Yeah. So what is your view on spirituality?
I have sort of a mixed view. I see a lot of our systemhood as being psychological, and then a lot of it as being like unexplained by psychology, so probably spiritual. Other system members see it as purely spiritual. Other system members see it as purely psychological. Like even within our system, there's a lot of different diverse views on how our system functions. So I see it as some aspects are psychological, some are more spiritual, some are something else.
Hard to understand. Well, yeah, that.
Like I see everyone in the system as their soul coming from somewhere else, but I wouldn't say that like, oh, everyone just comes from the brain and it's all purely psychological. That's not a view that I subscribe to for myself, because I definitely see myself as having some spiritual aspects to myself. Like I said earlier, kind of like an evil demon type. I feel I have some sort of origin in evil demonic stuff, but not like pure evil demonic stuff, just like the jokingly evil demonic stuff, that kind of thing. But I also recognize that I am from a time of stress, and that's why I showed up in the first place. But I feel that other aspects of my personality and systemhood have come from more spiritual sense. And that's why I'm able to do things like control front for other people. I can let new system members in, remove them from front, that sort of thing.
Interesting.
And I can also keep the vault of memories closed. So I have some power over the brain in that sense, which doesn't feel fully psychological to me.
Yeah, that's a good skill to have. There's a few things I'd like to say about that. First of all, you mentioned like some, I feel like, let me get my thoughts together here. So first of all, it's like, I feel like on the front of spirituality, I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't understand and they can't really articulate, but they kind of know it's there, And I feel like spirituality plays into that. And the way I see it is it's like, I don't know what forces are at play completely. I don't know what's out there, but I have a strong sense that there's something strong that we don't understand, and it is to be respected, and it is to be, some people revere it, some people honor it. I think at the very least it should be respected. So that's kind of my take on that. And you mentioned, even if you're like a jokingly like evil character, it's like, what's interesting about that is like, if you believe in some sort of like evil aspect, it's like there has to be an equal and opposite force, right? So by contrast, you have to believe that there's like a good counterpart to that. Is that true at all?
I definitely feel that that does play a role in it. I feel that my origins had some sort of evil type origin that I had to combat with the equal forces of good in order to form myself as more of a useful system member than an antagonistic one.
I see. Yeah, it reminds me of I think it was Nietzsche. He said that the line of good runs, or the line of good and evil runs through the heart of all men. And I can totally empathize with that. It's like there's days where I've just been like down and didn't want to get up and keep fighting, but you have to keep fighting the good fight.
And so for me as a system member, I emerged from being a demon of psychosis.
Oh wow!
So like a system member went into psychosis, and I was the one they saw, and I joined their system.
Oh wow!
So like I definitely have some spiritual origin in that sense. I'm from an otherworldly experience of sorts. Because psychosis it among other things can include seeing things that don't exist. But I was the thing that existed in the non-existent realm.
Oh wow!
And so I joined the system in that way. And so that in that sense I was kind of like evil. I'm from psychosis. That's evil. That's not really evil. But I kind of embodied this, oh yes, I'm so evil personality. And so that's sort of what I mean by like jokingly evil kind of thing. And then I used my powers within the brain as coming from psychosis in order to influence how the brain works and how the system works.
Oh, interesting. And do you find that you have a pretty deep understanding coming from that experience, like of the brain and how it works and how you can influence your idiosyncrasies?
I definitely have a pretty good understanding of how the brain works just because of how I am as a system member. So when I said earlier that I'm based on Iggy, I was a little bit lying. It was actually, I was kind of like a part of Iggy's subsystem because I joined from psychosis.
Oh,
so like I'm Iggy based in appearance, but I'm not like, there's also another Iggy in our system. And so I have power over the subsystem that Iggy is in because I'm kind of like in charge of that subsystem. And then I also have power within the larger system. And so I'm able to understand how it works because I have power over how it functions and I can influence how it functions. The brain also has some power over me, but not much. And so we kind of have to go back and forth, make some compromises in a way. But I can communicate with the brain and its functioning in a way that other system members can't.
Interesting. Huh. So there is quite a lot of like negotiation that occurs, huh?
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Both within the system and within the brain.
I see. Oh, that's okay.
What's Lego doing?
That's okay. You knocked over my cord. That's okay. Interesting. So let me ask you this: Do you ever get overwhelmed by all of this? Like, do you ever find it hard to control all of this, all these forces at play?
It can definitely be overwhelming. I tend to be one of the members who doesn't get overwhelmed much, so I end up becoming the fronter during overwhelming times. But other system members definitely can find it overwhelming at times. Like, oh my God, there's so many people, and not all of them confront all the time. And even if they did, that would be crazy. And how are we going to function in this way? And that kind of thing. A lot of times, the new system members will get stressed about it. But a lot of it is just, I'm in this system. There's a lot of people here. We all can work together, figure this out, play to each other's strengths, and things will be okay. This is just how we are. And that's how it is. And if we were a singlet, that would be tiring too. There's a term called front stuck, meaning you can't leave front. And there's this joke within the system community that they can't imagine being a singlet because they'd be front stuck all the time.
Yeah, I suppose they would. Huh. Well, that's got to be comforting knowing you kind of have a team to help you through, and being able to parse out the stresses and the difficulties amongst your team, right? Like, do you think of it as a team or is it more of a big group? Yeah,
definitely like a team or a group or something along those lines. Definitely not like a family where everyone loves each other. Maybe not that far.
Is there beef?
There's some beef.
Oh, man. No. Oh, man. Do the reunions get heated? What happens?
You met Baxter.
Oh, yeah, I did meet Baxter.
I have beef with Baxter.
You got beef with Baxter?
I'm not going to get into it, but I have beef with Baxter.
Oh, man, watch out. Oh, wow.
But, I mean, it's never beef to the extent where we're, like, be hostile to one another.
Yeah.
It's just,
more
like,
friendly.
Oh, I hate this guy. That kind of thing.
Oh, I can't stand him. Yeah.
I can't stand him. And then sometimes there's a little bit of genuine beef where it's like, let's keep these two away from each other.
Oh, for real. It's like, don't have those two co-front at all.
Yeah. Or it'll be like they'll front one after the other to like trash talk each other.
It's like cats and dogs, you guys. Oh, wow. That's so cool. For some reason, I just like imagine like a massive cruise ship, and it's like, all right, like your turn to drive. Okay, your turn to drive. Okay, your turn to drive.
It's kind of like that, but thankfully there's no vehicle that we're in risk of endangering.
This is true. Wow. Well, like, is there anything you'd like to mention or talk about that we haven't covered yet?
I think we pretty much covered everything I wanted to say, honestly. I explained a lot of different things about systemhood, talked about some of the spiritual aspects, talked about a lot of different terms, defined them hopefully in a way that made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
It's definitely a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Because systemhood is an incredibly diverse experience, both within itself and within the system community. And so I'm glad that I've had this opportunity to explain it to you, explain it to other folks, as the silly psychosis demon member that I am. But I'm just glad I had this opportunity to be the educator role, like I mentioned earlier, and also talk about something that we're passionate about as a system, which is systemhood. And so just wanted to thank you again for the opportunity to be on this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being you and for being so passionate and being such a hard worker and being such a sincere and authentic person. And
thank you.
I appreciate your company very much.
I appreciate yours.
And yeah, I thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Sweet. Cool.
Okay. Probably press stop.
Yeah. Oh man, we're gonna have to cut that out.